everyone, thanks again for tuning into Sid's Workshop. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. Alright, so today we're going to be talking about Indestructible Object by Mary McCoy. I keep wanting to say objects because they do reference something called Indestructible Objects in the book, but you know, that's not correct. Anyway, the story follows Lee. Up until now, she's had this idealized version of love, really. And I think that's relatable because that's something I think we can all connect to at some point in our lives, especially when we're younger. We just think love is this perfect thing. You know, it's not. It's messy. But that is what Lee's going through. You know, she was working on a podcast with her boyfriend for the past 2 years called Artists in Love, where they talk about famous artists and their love stories. But now they're breaking up. You know, their last podcast, their final episode is about their love. And let's be real, when you're that young, you've just graduated high school, you're going to be going off to college. What do we really know about love? And I think it's great that McCoy wrote this story. I will say this story is a little bit out of my comfort zone because it's not something I would normally pick up and read, but I was sent a copy by Simon & Schuster, and thank you, Simon & Schuster, for sending me a copy of this book. I think it holds a lot of value because we're on this journey with Lee as she's trying to figure out, does love actually exist? I mean, her parents are finally splitting up after about 18-20 years together. I know that's a kind of a gap. I can't remember exactly if it's 18 or 20 years. I think they've been together for 18. They've been separated for 2 years, and now they're finally finalizing the divorce. He's finally moving out. And they're splitting up. So she's just had this breakup with her boyfriend, and they're still friends and everything. But she finds herself depressed. She finds herself very sad. She finds herself in this state of, well, I had my whole life figured out. I was gonna, we were gonna continue doing Artists in Love together, but now you're gonna be going off to Howard College, and I'm gonna be staying here in Memphis. And now her life is kind of just falling apart. You know, parents are divorcing, boyfriend broke up with her. And she's also having to reconcile some of her own mistakes. She is, as she says, a messy queer. She does call herself that. She's bisexual. She apparently did cheat on her boyfriend with another girl, and she kind of rationalized it the way most people do. Like, she loves her boyfriend, but she rationalized it as saying, well, he doesn't really want to do anything more than just make out because, he doesn't really believe in certain activities before marriage, which is 100% acceptable. And I like that she reconciles that. Like, no, when he does want to, she's like, no, this isn't what you believe in. I don't want us breaking up to be the catalyst of, you think you have to do this to keep me. So I did think that was very mature on her part, that aspect of it anyway. But she has to reconcile this fact that not only is she, I really need to start tabbing the book. Not only is she bisexual, which, in Memphis, they say it a lot here, it's very, yes ma'am, no sir, yes sir, yes ma'am, there are a lot of, I've never been to Memphis, I wouldn't know, but in the story, it's a very strict, uptight kind of atmosphere, so no one can understand why she wants to stay there. She's like, well, it's not just about that, it's about all the art that has happened here, all the history that has happened here. She's an artist. She's drawn into that. She loves working with sound, with music. She loves her podcast, and you really do commend her for that. She wants to kind of change Memphis without, sacrificing who she is. But she also, alongside of her bisexuality, she's also discovering that maybe one person, and so I'm trying to go through this book to find the direct quote. She's discovering that being in a relationship with just one person isn't exactly her cup of tea. So she wants to be in a polygamous relationship. Polygamous? Is that how you say it? Polygamous relationship. And that's, again, 100% acceptable. I think we're kind of, as a society, we're stepping away from what is considered socially acceptable. I'm the person who cares what's socially acceptable. There are limits, of course. I don't think your sexuality is one of them, and I don't think if you want to be in a polygamous relationship or monogamous relationship, that should be shamed upon either. And I like McCoy's writing. I like how she kind of pushes against societal norms of what's considered acceptable to really ask, okay, is living a lie acceptable? No. Is living in a closet acceptable? No. Is denying who you are as a person, your happiness? Again, there are limits to that as well. I think many of you know what those, nothing with children, that's not acceptable. I'm going to say that. But, if you want to be in a polygamous relationship, if you want to be in a monogamous relationship and your partner is supportive of you no matter what, I think it should be accepted, If you are gender fluid, it should be accepted. If you're pansexual, bisexual, transgender, homosexual, it should be accepted. I'm of the belief that no one has the right to judge another person, honestly. We are not all-knowing. We are not all-powerful. Whatever God you believe in, or goddess you believe in, I don't think it's our place to do that. And I think so much of society and history has been based on doing that we're putting people, or we're setting up this mentality that you have to live a lie, you have to be unhappy, because you have to fit with the social norms, you have to fit with what is socially acceptable. And I like that McCoy is pushing against that. It's just like, we have this young girl, she loved her boyfriend, but on some level she was unhappy. Why? Because she was in this relationship, and it turns out they didn't really know each other. She was afraid. She's like, I didn't think you'd love me if you knew who I really was. She does say that. And I think that's a very powerful line in the story, because it does resonate with the reader. Sometimes, and I'm guilty of this as well, we try to fit ourselves into a mold to be with someone. But it's just like, do they even love us? Or do they love this version of us that we are presenting to them? You know what I mean? And I think we get lost. We lose ourselves. We lose who we are inside when we do that. You know, it took me a long time to be comfortable with who I am as a person. I thought I was going to scare my husband away. Totally thought I was going to scare him away. But at the point when I met him, I was like, yeah, I'm done playing masquerade or facade. And I was just like, oh yeah, I'm a crazy person. I'm a witch. I like to read and play video games, and I like horror movies. And this dude, he loves me. 7 years later, he's stuck with me with my Harry Potter obsession and Joker obsession and book obsession. So I consider myself one of the lucky ones, and he's, you know, he doesn't believe in Wicca. Well, he's an atheist. He doesn't believe in anything. But he completely 100% supports my Wiccan beliefs, and I think that's great, you know? I consider myself very fortunate to have found him. But I was where Lee was. You know, I was where she was, you know, kind of not honest about who I was. And I think that's what makes it really relatable. That we can pick apart her personality and pick apart how society is really affecting people to sort of fit into a mold. And then that's it. You have to fit in this mold in order to be happy. But that's not it. True happiness comes from within, I think. And you're going to find that love. Because that's what she's looking for. She's looking to see if love exists. First and foremost, to find love, you have to love yourself. I think a lot of us forget that. And I like that McCoy kind of brought that to our attention. You have to love yourself. Even the messy parts. You have to love yourself first and foremost before you can really let anyone in. I mean, it's not all going to happen at once. I don't think so. Again, I've been where she is. But it's going to be messy. Love is messy, I think. And I think that's why I really like this story, because it's relatable and it's relevant and it asks questions and it makes you really look inside yourself. And I thought it was really well done. And I love the podcast segments, because there are segments in here, it's just the podcast. Like here, she's doing the interviews. I like the narrative. I like the pacing. You're on this journey of growth with Lee. It's not just a story about finding love. It's about character development. It's about that journey and how it's not easy. It's not, but it's worth it. So I have to give Indestructible Object 4 out of 5 stars. Not quite 5 because it didn't quite blow me away, but for me, I did find it very touching and personal, and I do think it's 100% worth the read. So if you want to go ahead and purchase the book, please remember to purchase the book from your local bookseller or online book retailer. You can go on bookshop.org, indiebound.com, barnesandnoble.com, and booksamillion.com. There are also other resources. I just ask that you support your booksellers over Amazon. If money's tight, check the book out from your local library. And on that note, I hope you all will continue to support me here by liking this video and subscribing to my channel. Please don't forget to share with all of your book-loving friends. Hope you all have a great rest of your day, and remember, love is an indestructible object.